And welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Horror Geeks. As you can see, Andy's still missing. He's just gone. I've looked a lot of different places. I've called his grandma. I've called the last woman he slept with. He's out of here. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to do the show myself. I can't do it. I feel bad. I'm going to go search for Andy one more time. Andy? Andy? God, where could he be? Haven't heard from him in days. I know. I'm going to go look in some of his favorite places. Andy! So frustrating.
Hey, brother.
Dude, what are you doing here?
Just eating chips outside your house. Nothing weird.
Real quick, Andy's missing. Do you think you could co-host this episode with me?
Let's do it right now. Come on.
Alright.
Go on. Go.
Dude, that was such a coincidence that I ran into you on the street.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like I was just hanging outside your apartment hoping that you would use me in the show more. Not at all, because I have a lot to do normally.
What were you doing today?
There was a sale on energy drinks, so I was grocery shopping.
Did you get some Minotaur?
Holy shit. Dude, this is like Shrek's piss.
One thing that I wanted to start doing was to give a little bit of a shout out to some of our fellow horror fans. And there's a really cool Instagram handle called Handmade Horror.
Okay.
And they make like little jewelry pieces. Just things, I mean, they fit in the palm of your hand. Handmade horror. So
Right.
it's like a double entendre.
Gotcha. But it's also made by hand.
Is it entendre or entendre? Entendre.
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 That's how you say it. It's French.
Let's call President Macron and ask him.
Yes. Hold on. I have his numbers here somewhere, but you keep talking about the other people.
So, have you had a chance to watch?
Find it.
Have you had a chance to watch episode 2 yet?
I have. You know, it's interesting. I'm usually a big haunt fan. I love ghosts. I love. I'm a ghost hunter on the side. By the way, we gotta do that.
We do.
And it doesn't bother me that your place is haunted. However, the most disturbing thing was that apparently you sleep with a little stuffed owl.
I do, and his name is Bobo, and he doesn't like to be referred to as a little stuffed owl.
What does he want to be called? A
Bobo.
German man? I mean,
just Bobo. He doesn't like identification tags.
And how did this come about?
He flew in the window one night.
And you trapped him and sleep with him?
And he's been here ever since.
Welcome to episode 3.
So you are gonna go to Comic-Con next week.
I am, and I'm gonna be bringing some footage to you guys. I'm so excited. We go every year. I'm taking my daughter. It's gonna be a blast. And
But your son's a little too young.
He's a little too young, so he's gonna stay with mommy at home. He went the first year when he was like 6 months, and he was easy because he's just like a bundle of useless parts.
It's alive. It's alive. Don't see it alone. Please. Rated PG.
So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cover it for the Horror Geeks. I'm gonna bring you guys kind of a little sampler plate of the horror at San Diego Comic-Con 2017. So I'm excited about that.
I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control and I think I like it.
I was totally prepared to do this show on my own, but I'm so happy you're here because I know the topic that I picked.
Yes.
You are a really big fan of. I came up with this the other night as I was kind of rearranging and cleaning, and I went through one of my drawers and found some VHS.
He will live on to become a greater being in future generations to come.
So there's no way that we can talk about VHS without talking about the 80s.
Right.
Some of the pop culture of the 80s, because VHS was pop culture in the 80s. And we're both...
Absolutely.
I'm still a handful of years older than you.
Way handful.
And hopefully we're not going to sound like old curmudgeons here talking about the glory days.
I mean, we're children of the 80s, and I would imagine most of you guys are. That is the glory days, really, of movies and of home video.
Of being
able to own your movie.
Yes.
But yeah, the 80s was such a rich I mean, it's still inspiring stuff.
I mean, think about like a lot of the movies that we see now are still based on like toys that we grew up with,
Right.
like Transformers, GI Joe.
I mean, they're all shitty movies, but
yes, but the toys were amazing.
the toys were good.
Thundercats,
Yeah.
the DC superheroes, the Marvel Secret Wars superheroes.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was just so cool when we were growing up was Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, Ninja Gaiden, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Kid Icarus.
Yes.
One thing that I wanted to mention really quick is that when we were growing up, I mean, even today, obviously with what happened in the 90s with Bill Clinton and then Obama and now Trump, like politics is pop culture. And when we were growing up, it was during the Reagan administration. And it's hard for people to understand that didn't grow up in that time, but Reagan was just this larger than life icon. He was like a mixture of a grandpa and a TV personality. And I feel like a lot of the politics of that time was reflected in some of the movies that we watched, like Red Dawn and Rocky IV, that played on the U.S. Versus Soviet Union aspect.
Right. Well, John Carpenter, bringing it to horror, he has stated many times that he was, sort of inspired by Reaganomics. I feel that obviously would influence a lot of filmmakers. George Romero, who we recently lost. The movies that came out of the 80s thrived in that era because there was something special that sort of fed that.
Yeah.
You wanted the escape, I think, a little bit more. So that's why there was a lot more kid movies than there are nowadays, where you had Goonies, you had Monster Squad, one of my favorites. Where
The Explorers.
Oh God, The Explorers, Last Starfighter, all these movies where it's like these kids get a chance to escape the world, as it were. I grew up on that. I fantasize about that, and that's probably why I can't sell a script nowadays, because I'm writing 80s movies, but they're coming back around, so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
But so I think you bring up an excellent point, and I 100% agree. But the thing that ties into our topic is not only as kids were we able to go see those movies in the theater and be like, we were able to, like 9 months later, get them, watch them at home over and over again.
Absolutely.
And that is VHS.
Yeah. It was a revolution. I mean, it changed everything. I mean, you went from just, I saw Star Wars. I know it's coming back in the theaters next year. It's like you couldn't own it because it was still expensive to own VHS at that time. I remember when T2 came out.
Yeah, they were like $90.
Yeah, T2 came out on VHS, and I wanted to get it, but it was $100. I'm like, damn. But I mean, in a few years later, you can get it for $24. But you could rent it, and that's why video stores exploded, and they fed the fandom. And without video stores, you wouldn't really have, I think, the media fandom that you have now, because video stores and VHS fed that, gave fans a chance to really embrace that and be swallowed up in that.
Yeah.
And that was such a crucial part. If we didn't have VHS, I don't think you would have the crazy fandom that you have now, like where we would be here, or other people would be talking about movies or movie news. It wouldn't be as big a deal because we wouldn't be able to say that was a part of us. We own that.
So I know my experience with video stores is, I mean, I am not kidding. Like, it's such a part of my identification of myself, because when I was growing up, my parents split when I was pretty young, and I spent every weekend with my dad. Mm-hmm. And he would pick me up at my mom's place, and then we would drive about 50 miles to his place. Mm. And midway through, we would stop at like 2 or 3 different video stores and get a movie at each store. And like, it was like I said, I'm not overplaying this. Like, it's such a part of my childhood, and those memories are so near and dear to me. The whole video store experience was amazing. It's gone now. I need to accept that and move on. Yeah. But that's why we're doing this episode on VHS.
Absolutely. I think it's something that should be remembered and thoroughly cherished and treasured, because it was especially for a horror fan, because I think that's the one genre that really gave audiences what they wanted and really took advantage of the VHS market. Yeah. I mean, nobody was making quickie dramas, in their backyards on video. I mean, maybe there are, but we don't hear about them. We hear about the movies that people just shot in their backyard. Like, hey, I got a video camera. I'm gonna go make this thing. I can actually make $200,000 selling it to one guy who's gonna put it in all these little mom and pop shops.
Yep.
And like you know, young Barry needed, you know, some more movies to feed your little brain. So
Young Barry, looking at the horror section and the porn section right next to it.
and you were still bald and bearded for some reason.
I was. At 8 years old, I was bald and bearded.
Hey guys, welcome to our Spotlight on Shudder segment, and here I am with my buddy George Buckflower Jr.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, he was able to come by and give us his top 3 movies on Shudder. So
it's great to be here.
yeah,
again,
man,
Jose.
it's good to see you,
fun.
man. It's been a while. So
You still gonna give me the $20 when I'm done?
yeah, you
Okay.
sure? Barry left, but as soon as he comes back, he's got it for you.
All right.
So what do you got? What's your top 3?
Because you guys are talking about 80s and video games and just iconic things of the 80s, one thing I think is Ninja Turtles are super
Yeah.
iconic. Now, my movie's not the Ninja Turtles.
No, it's not
It's
horror.
a movie called Chud, which
yes.
also is C period, H period, U period, D period.
Yes, which stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, you can't pass up that name.
No,
it's great.
no.
It's basically, it's a movie about my kind.
Right.
Who live in the streets of New York, and what happens is there's toxic waste spills, and they turn into these monster mutant things,
Right.
and they just destroy everything.
And it's also sort of a prequel to Home Alone because Kevin's dad and Marv, is it Marv or
Yeah.
Harry?
Oh,
Marv.
that's funny. I didn't think about
And
that.
Marv is in it as well. So it's a prequel. This is what happens before Home Alone. They actually
Yeah.
knew each other.
Yeah, and it's like if someone said, "How do I make a horror movie that's Ninja Turtles without turtles and ninjas?" It's Chud.
It's Chud.
It's kind of like
Absolutely.
it's like as if the foot soldiers were the Ninja Turtles, but they also were homeless.
Right. And mutants and 8 people.
The next one that I would pick is
All right, you want a drink?
that'd be great.
Barry?
Cannibal Holocaust. Have you guys heard of this movie?
Cannibal Holocaust. Okay,
It's-
this is a pretty prestigious movie.
I mean, it's a movie. Yeah, this movie's great. It's a movie. It's one thing I like about it is it was the first that I know of that really kind of did what Blair Witch and other found footages did later. And it's about these kids that go off and essentially experience like a tribal culture and just get destroyed and eaten by them. And so then the next one I'm going to pick is Ichi the Killer. And
Okay.
this one is a fun find on Shudder because it's not really a horror film.
Right.
It's about this guy who just kills a lot of people and hurts
Yeah.
them, and that's why it's on Shudder though, because it's bloody.
George, quick question before we sign off. If you're homeless, how do you have Shudder?
What makes you think I'm homeless?
Well, you were talking about Chud, and you said those are your people. I figured you were like...
Yeah, metaphoric people. What do you think that just because I say they're my people, it means that I'm like them?
Well, I mean, I didn't mean to, like, have it be a thing. I just, because your dad is, like, the most famous movie hobo of all time. I figured you would, like... Because you had the looks, and maybe you're continuing the tradition, but you're not an actor, so...
Are you comparing me to my daddy? It makes my beard ruffle when people compare me to my daddy. I never get out of that guy's shadow no matter what I do. Hey, can you take a shit in a tent for me? Hey, can you scream a lot about people? No, man, I'm just kidding with you. I love it. People really get really worked up. It's because of the beard. When I stare real hard and talk serious, it's people can't see that I'm just smirking under here.
Yeah. Have you watched that thing recently? Because
My
doesn't
head?
smell like you have. You're... It is California.
I don't even know where I
summer.
got this thing. I didn't have this morning when I woke up.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
So let's dive in.
Yeah.
Let's dive into SOV.
Yes.
Which is known as
Shot on video.
Shot
Yes.
on video.
A very sub genre of horror, where I cut my teeth on. My first horror movie that I made was a shot on video movie right out of college with my friends, and to this day, it's my favorite filmmaking experience.
Yeah.
It was a pure experience.
And what was the name of that one?
It was called The Monster Man.
The Monster
And
Man.
It might be available on eBay. That's probably the only place you'll be able to find it.
So my filmmaking experience, I've directed a web series and obviously the pilot for this TV show and a few short films. I did do one feature film once in my 20s that was shot on mini DV, so like not VHS, but still video. I have one VHS copy of it left, so probably nobody's ever gonna see it. But I don't know that I could do anything in the future and have it be as an amazing of an experience as that.
Right.
So you and I both have shot on video experience, and before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of 80s shot on video stuff, this might sound like a weird spot to do this, but actually I think it's perfect just to talk about kind of what you have to go through as an indie filmmaker to make a movie off of literally nothing. I mean, and then a lot of times go into personal debt.
All times. Always go, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, this show, we do on nothing. I mean, you guys think I pay Jose anything to drive and 45 minutes each way in traffic?
No.
Like, no, I give him a turkey sandwich and a slap on the ass on the way out.
And I still don't have that turkey sandwich.
Juicy turkey, Marion.
I knew it would be.
After all, it's Butterball.
So on that note, let's talk about some of our favorite shot on videos. And I know you are the shot on video guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know episode 1, I said you were the deformed killer guy.
Yeah, I'm a lot of guys.
But you're really the shot on video guy.
Yes, it's near and dear to my heart just because, like I said, I started there, so I know what it takes to make it and how difficult it is.
So the whole family thing is a really popular thread in horror in general, but also in our little shot on video. And I'm thinking of the Wood Chipper Massacre.
Okay, classic.
In the Wood Chipper Massacre, the 3 siblings, like their dad leaves for business and like their old grumpy aunt comes over and starts telling the kids what to do.
That's the trouble with this country today. People watch this trash, makes them crazy.
It's not a massacre though.
No.
There's 2 killings in it.
The only movie for me that's shot on video that really lives up to its title is Cannibal Campout.
It's a small world, isn't it?
Cannibal Campout, I think, is a landmark film.
Since you mentioned Cannibal Campout, just to give you guys a little bit of our personal history, when I first moved here to Los Angeles, I didn't really know anybody. And I found Jose on Facebook, and he started this movie screening series.
Yeah, at the long-defunct Jump Cut Cafe in California.
Jump Cut Cafe, and Cannibal Campout was one, maybe it was the 3rd or 4th one.
Yeah, the first one was Rat Man, which is a fantastic movie. But yeah, Cannibal Campout it's been a long favorite of mine since high school. A friend of mine rented it because he saw the cover. He's like, "Oh my god, we gotta see this thing!" And that's going back to VHS and video stores.
Soup's on.
Sitting there watching Cannibal Campout, I was like, yeah, I think I could be good friends with this guy.
Yeah. It's you find, I think the SOV you watch together really defines friendships.
Now, one of my personal favorites is Redneck Zombies, which is in the Trauma family.
Yeah.
And really, if you watch that movie, there are some pretty amazing special effects. And that guy, the director, I believe, didn't really direct much else, but he was a special effects supervisor on a handful of other Trauma stuff. And then also, for a little bit, of the TV show Monsters.
Oh, great! It's Monsters, our favorite show.
It's starting.
We can't really talk about a shot on video segment without talking about the film Tales from the Quad Dead Zone.
Yes, Mr. Chester Turner. Quad Dead is interesting because it's an anthology
of 2 stories.
Yeah,
and there's the wraparound story.
Yeah, so I mean, he's trying.
Well, Jose, before we kind of get out of this segment, what are some of your other shot on video favorites?
Well, I gotta shout out to 2 movies, Blood Cult and Boarding House, and both movies are available, so I recommend you go out and watch those.
I don't think that my conscience would let me get out of the shot on video segment without mentioning 1983's Sledgehammer, done by David Pryor, who later on went to write and direct one of my guilty pleasures, Killer Workout.
Hey baby, you sure look sexy. Standing there.
If you guys haven't seen Sledgehammer, you've got to check it out. This movie is famous for using some of the most slow motion segments.
Yeah, have a lot of coffee or energy drinks when you watch this, and don't watch it late at night.
I mean, it would be like if Jose and I were talking.
And then we started to go into slow motion.
Jose?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm getting an announcement. We have a special on-location report from Horror Town USA's Chase Conroy at the Owens murder house.
Oh, let's go to that.
You were looking at the Owens family residence. 3 years ago today, this was a normal home filled with love, joy, happiness, fresh food, mostly comfort foods. They weren't very healthy. But as of today, this is a vacant home because 3 years ago today, the entire family was murdered. Good evening. I'm Chase Conroy. I'd like to talk to you today about the Owens family murder that occurred 3 years ago today, as you may have heard me state just a moment ago. Now, we've been told that this home is vacant, hasn't been lived in for 3 years, and today we're going to take you on an inside peek of exactly what is going on inside on today's Inside Edition. I mean, current affairs. I mean, Channel 13, Horror Town News. Come on, let's check it out. As we move around through the area, I want to point out a couple of things. You may remember the crime scene photo that we showed not so long ago of Mr. Owens, who was brutally murdered. He was stabbed 3 times in the abdomen, shot in the head, strangled with an extension cord, and then he was dropped into a bucket of electricity. So he definitely died quite horribly. See here, there's so much other stuff. I don't know why we have all of this camping gear. But anyway, Bob, let's go at it. Bob. Okay. I'm gonna try to continue my reporting here. I don't know what's happened or what's going on. Don't know where my cameraman is. So, again, just like back at the studio.
Chase Conroy?
Yes?
It's Pamela. Pamela Voorhees. I found this camera outside, and I wanted to get this on record and talk to you.
Yes, Pamela. I don't know how she found me. But I don't know how. I'm just gonna hang out in here and be very quiet.
We need to have a discussion.
What's that on your hand? It looks like fresh blood.
He was a nasty young man. He had a can of chewing tobacco in his back pocket. He should be happy that I remedied that problem for him.
Let's have a sit down. We can do that. Hey, there's a couch over here. Why don't you sit where the old man was murdered, and I'll sit somewhere that he wasn't murdered.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will sit on the. I'll sit on the couch. I did bring my sewing needles, although I used those to kill your cameraman, of course.
I see. Other than that, let's just. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head outside. Real quick, let's go outside.
Don't leave me, Chase. Okay, I'll trust you, but you better come back.
One of the things that we really want to do for the TV show, when, not if, but when we get it picked up and we can do our TV version, is to, and this is a little spoiler alert for you guys watching this.
Bruce Willis is a ghost. Is that
Bruce Willis is a ghost, yes. Yeah. There we go.
I see dead people.
End of segment.
Just to tell people that. Thanks for watching.
Let's move on. No, one thing that I'd really like to do is one episode per season is to do something on fears, like different fears.
Right.
Obviously, horror and fear are very well connected. So I thought maybe for this segment, we could do a fear.
Yeah.
And I thought about colorophobia.
Right, the fear of colors.
Yeah. No, not the fear of colors. The fear of clowns.
What's the matter, kid? Don't you like clowns?
That's what it's called?
Colorophobia. Like
It's not like-
cauliflower? Yes! I know for me as a kid, what made me terrified of clowns was Poltergeist.
Yes.
I'm old enough to have seen that movie in the theater, and the clown segment is just it's just terrifying.
Absolutely.
That's what made me scared of clowns.
I think that definitely scarred my daughter. She used to be okay with clowns. When she was little, I showed her Killer Clowns, which I feel is like a fun clown movie.
It is.
And
They're
loved,
cute and fun.
she loved Killer Clowns. But then we saw Poltergeist, and now she's terrified. And we only got through half of Stephen King's It, so she hasn't even seen the second part where they kill it.
Really?
So she's like, I don't want anything to do with clowns. You know, she's 9 years old and she's freaked out of her mind.
She's done.
She's done with clowns.
Are you excited for the remake?
I am. It is my favorite Stephen King book. It's like 1,000+ pages, but I think it's his best book. So I'm interested to see what the new film will do, because it is going to do sort of half of the story. It's just going to be the Losers Club when they were little. And then hopefully they'll be able to do a sequel. And I think it's going to be pretty successful because clowns are hot now.
Yeah.
And I think the trailer has the record for the most views in 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Which is insane for a horror movie.
That's cool.
That a remake can have can beat the views of like The Force Awakens, which had the record. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it is.
That's what.
Wow, dude, it was such a coincidence again that I ran into you on the street.
Very strange.
This was a great episode. I feel like. I hope you guys feel.
I think it went well. It went so fast. It was an honor doing the show with you and filling in for Andy. I hope I filled his shoes.
Thank you.
And
Jason thanks you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Oh, yeah, you still didn't give me this guy. Remember you didn't give me this guy?
Put him down. So, thanks so much, Jose. It was a fun episode. We talked about some clowns.
Have you heard of clown porn?
No, but it sounds like a cool thing.
Come here. I gotta show you this.
I'm live. I'm back. I'm back in Bear's apartment. I'm back here. I didn't die. I wasn't dead. I'm corporeal. I'm here. I'm physical. I'm real. I made it. Barry, I gotta tell you. Oh my God. I gotta tell everybody. I'm alive.
Alrighty, nighty day, pals. You know what time